sequels are mostly seen as bad things for the most part.
Isn't that crazy?
And I just think that it could be better. You know, like if you're trying to continue your franchise or whatever, there are good ways to do it. And I think the movies that we named off are examples of movies that were supposed to be just one-off movies.
Yes.
That shouldn't have been made into a franchise or shouldn't have had sequels and like that. But I think when a movie gets so successful, especially back then, it was a guarantee that you're gonna get a shitty sequel that's gonna follow it.
You definitely were, yeah, and it was gonna come right away.
Over the years, we've gotten a lot of great movies that have came out, and one of the things that always scares me whenever we get a new original movie is the studio rushing to make a terrible sequel. Because we've definitely seen a lot of bad sequels in our time, bro. Especially growing up in the early 2000s, was like any movie that hits any type of box office numbers, just know within a year or two, there's gonna be a terrible sequel that follows.
It's gonna be a part 2 that's rushed as hell.
Yeah, rushed as hell. And I think nowadays they're kind of getting a little bit better and not doing that as much. But dude, there are a lot of bad sequels back in the day that almost pretty much terminated an entire franchise.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, like you said, it definitely was more of a plague back then of the sequels, and you know now we're kind of transitioning into doing the remakes. We're in the remake era. That's a whole nother video if you guys want it later.
yeah, definitely.
You know, but yeah, man, the sequels, I just never really enjoyed it. I would say it's rare to get a great sequel, you know what I mean? Like shout out to Spider-Man 2.
Yeah,
that might be the only one of the few sequels where I enjoyed the second movie better than the first one. You know what I mean? Like I can't really name too many. Could you?
I definitely couldn't name a couple sequels that are better than the original, but I mean I feel like that could be a whole other topic.
Okay. That is a whole other thing. Okay,
if y'all want to see that, let us know. Yeah. But I think there are just so many movies that make you go, damn, because that sequel is so bad, it makes me almost not like the original movie as much.
It ruins the franchise almost, or whatever they were trying to go with. Yeah, I get what you mean. Yeah, like some of the sequels that they'll do, or a lot of them, they just feel lazy, like you said, rushed, and I don't know, bro. It's such a cash grab, and we already say that a lot about the current projects that they make where they do the remakes, but with this, it's not that different, where it's just like we're gonna get Coming to America or Coming to America. Yeah. It's like, dude,
it's so bad.
You know what I mean? And I guess that's like, and they kind of did both, where it's like almost a remake and it's also a sequel. Because there's all these other new characters and things like that, whatever the case may be. But yeah, bro, I don't know. I think that is always gonna be an issue where they end up doing a sequel so long after. That's another one that I hate, is where it will be, and that's the ones that immediately scream cash grab to me, where I'm like, okay, so we haven't had a Blade movie since whatever, right? And that's also another sequel that was but it's one of those things where it's just like they'll do Blade 1, this is just a hypothetical, and then Hollywood will go, oh, you know what we haven't done in a really long time? And it's almost that balance between both, where like they think the same thing with doing all these reboots or whatever the case may be. It's almost that same logic where they'll go, oh yeah, let's do the sequel, but it's 10 to 20 years later, and none of us even care about freaking whatever the character is. You know what I mean? RoboCop.
Yeah, another good example of like I think a sequel that like it took them so long to make it, and honestly they should have never made it. Like Happy Gilmore 2 should have never been made. There's another example. Beetlejuice probably should have never been made.
Perfect.
You know what I'm saying? Like there's a lot of these sequels that came out recently that I think like, why did you guys even go and decide to make any of these? Like there's no point on it at all. And I think back in the day it was like really, really bad, where they would do movies that you could clearly tell they did not care about. And I think Disney is one of the main perpetrators of this, where they will do the straight to video sequels. So that's where you get like Mulan 2 or The Lion King 2.
Yeah, Lion King 1.5 and all this other stuff.
Hey, Lion King 1.5, don't sleep on it.
It was cool though. I did like Lion King 1.5.
I get what you mean though. Yeah. And they do a lot like Brother Bear 2, and they do a lot of these movies where it's like the sequels don't even get a theatrical release. They just get sent straight to DVD, and now you probably can't even find them on Disney Plus or anything like that. They probably like hidden them so well, like The Little Mermaid 2 or whatever, right? And it's like those movies were so terrible back then. that I'm like, what the hell were you guys doing? And,
Yeah.
And then Marvel was really bad with their sequels. I mean,
Ooh-wee.
Marvel has a huge track record of having bad sequels. And I'm not even
Yes.
talking about the MCU. I'm talking about like Ghost Rider 2
Ooh-wee.
was so bad.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Then we have like the Amazing Spider-Man 2 was terrible.
It was bad.
Spider-Man 3, even though it's fun to go back and watch that movie, at
It
the
was
time
bad.
though, the movie was bad.
Yeah.
And then we have the MCU stuff like Iron Man 2, Iron Man 3, Thor the
The
Dark
Dark
World,
World.
Ant-Man Quantumania. Like these sequels are like unbearably bad. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
bro.
And I just think that a lot of the times when you have like a huge success of a movie, like a lot of the studios go, okay, we got to capitalize on this, and instead of just leaving it like, okay, just let grown-ups be its own thing.
Yeah.
They go, no.
We're doing Grown Ups 3
gotta do
after
Gro-
so long.
Oh my god, that I forgot they did
So
that. Yeah,
you
that's
know what?
terrible.
This will even be this. The main video is about sequels, but bro, I'm not gonna lie to you. We're even throw in the threequels.
The
because
legacy franchises.
Yes,
too.
bro.
Yeah.
I am done with those because it's a thing of, and this was actually a continuation. So this actually does count
Mm-hmm.
as a sequel. Jumanji.
Ooh.
A lot of people don't know that is considered a sequel. The one with Nick
Rock and stuff.
Jonas
Yeah,
and all
yeah,
them.
yeah, yeah.
That's considered a sequel because they even reference Robin Williams' character,
Yeah.
where like the treehouse
Alan
or whatever
and
in the
stuff,
movie,
yeah.
they talk about him. So
Yeah.
this is a sequel, dude.
Yeah, you're right.
After
yeah, you're
so
right.
many years
Yeah, you're right.
again,
Yeah, you're right.
I'm sick and tired of it. So I get
So
what you're
bad.
saying. It's just that's a big problem too, that we're always gonna sit there and watch those. And obviously you're gonna get some of the older people that might go and be like, oh, nostalgia, whatever the case may be. And they'll feel like a kid again. They get to hear some of these stuff. But dude, I'm just gonna be honest. I just think that we don't need these projects. We don't. If there is a Rocky that was at that time, let it just be that. Don't do Rocky 2 in 2024, in 2026.
Well, but then Creed was technically a Rocky sequel franchise, but those movies are actually good.
Okay,
I do like the Creed movies.
Creed was good. I will give them that. But that's what I said. Where it's
They're
almost,
rare.
It's
instances.
rare.
Yeah,
Yes,
I get
where
you.
it's like you can have wiggle room with certain projects where the other thing is almost its own separate entity now.
yeah.
Where Creed has his own identity to the next level. You feel what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
I get you,
But
man.
when you're doing the whole Jumanji thing, and it's like, oh, the only difference is like now they're getting sucked into the game and we get to see what's
The
actually
Jumanji
going
world
on.
or whatever, yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Compared to the other one, it was like they would just get sucked in and then they would come out.
Yeah,
and,
they would come out. The
crazy stuff would be happening.
Yeah.
And
I just think that's another problem. This has to do kind of with sequels, but I just think like the whole huge franchise thing, like like the Fast and Furious franchise, like they went crazy off the rails
Yep.
with their franchise over there, and even like the original Resident Evil movies that were coming out in the early 2000s, like they were going
Afterlife and
Oh
stuff.
my god,
Yeah.
like Apocalypse and Extinction and all that stuff. Like
Yeah.
they were going off the rails like crazy in those movies, and I think a lot of times you lose your footing on like what you actually thought this franchise was. And then one sequel that I like. It boggled my little child brain when I first watched this movie because I thought the original movie was so peak. Mortal Kombat Annihilation.
Ooh.
Oh my god! When I watched that movie as a kid, Mortal Kombat is one of my favorite fighting games of all time. I grew up watching. I used to play with my dad and my brother and all
Me
this stuff.
too,
Right?
yep.
I loved that game growing up as a kid. And when I watched the first original movie, I was like, oh my god,
This is
cinema.
peak.
This is peak cinema right here. But when I first watched Mortal Kombat Annihilation, I was really like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Like they recasted so many characters. They
Yep.
killed off Johnny Cage in the beginning of the movie. Like
Yep.
that movie like really cemented for me that like sequels are bad
Terrible,
movies
yeah.
a lot of the time.
Goro
what I'm saying?
sucked,
Yeah,
like,
they all
yeah.
it was all just terrible. And another movie that I thought was like, bro, what the hell is going on over here? Son of the Mask. Dude, that movie was so bad. And that's also another one where they took hella long to make the sequel.
No.
Because The Mask came out with Jim Carrey in the 90s, and the Son of the Mask came out like 2007 or something like that, right? It
yeah.
came out like 10 years later.
Yes.
And that movie with Jamie Kennedy was so
So bad.
bad.
That was so bad, dude. The CGI was terrible.
Oh my
Giving the
God.
dog and everybody else the mask was like, I guess it could have worked, but the way that they went about it was just such a loony ass movie. And it's funny to say that about the mask.
Yeah.
But Jim Carrey's was such a classic. It's just one of those movies where you just go back and there is no notes.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But the Son of the Mask was so bad. I mean, another example of that where they do the late sequel. This one bothered me so much, and I couldn't stop talking about this for the longest time because I loved the original. Bro, them trying to do a Megamind sequel literally like last year.
Oh my
And
God.
then you
Straight to
dropped-
streaming.
You straight to streaming it first off on Paramount, and then you drop the animation to look like I don't know if you remember that one show, the Penguins of Madagascar show.
Yeah.
Bro, it
It's
was
that
that
vibe.
animation.
Yeah, I
no,
remember.
not even that vibe. It's literally that choppy kind of animation. It works for that, right?
Terrible.
But Megamind,
That was
For the movie?
terrible. I forgot about that. I honestly did forget about that sequel. Yeah, that was really bad. I mean, what are some
Tough watch.
What are some more sequels that like you watched growing up, or even recently that you could say
Yeah.
that you could say like, damn, that was a terrible one. One for me that I would say, and I think a lot of people agree with me on this. Maybe they want. I've seen a lot of people actually defend this movie, dude. Star Wars: The Last Jedi
Oh, I'm already knowing.
was
Yeah.
the movie that proved to me that this
is over.
sequel franchise for Star Wars is gonna be bad. Like
Yeah.
Force Awakens was pretty good. It was,
Yeah, it was
decent.
okay.
I remember we went to go watch that in
Yep,
high school, and I
yep,
thought
yep.
it was like, hey, that
I
was
thought
a
it was
cool
cool.
movie.
Yeah.
It was a cool movie. When The Last Jedi came out, oh my God, that movie was so bad.
Yeah, bro. I'm not gonna lie. I usually, and that's like me. I don't really follow the Star Wars movies too much, but The Force Awakens, I was like, okay, I'm. This is where I'm starting, right? Like, I watched some of the older ones, but I didn't follow too well. Then I got to this. I ain't gonna lie. Last Jedi, I watched it. Terrible film.
movie.
I'm just being honest. Like,
Terrible.
I've seen some people give it, benefit of the doubt, whatever the case may be, but dude, I just don't see how.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest. And
So bad.
for me, bro, I'm gonna tell you the truth. This one, I didn't see too many people complain about it, but I think the reason is because of the star who's in it. Space Jam 2 is absolutely terrible. It's really bad, bro. The concept that they were going with, the new monsters that they had and everything, it was just a bad concept. And just doing the whole thing with, LeBron James and everything like that, I just think that it was just, that's what I mean of, it's just that cash grab stuff.
That was and that movie was like the epitome of a franchise or a company going, hey, look at the stuff that we own.
Yep.
It was like, here's Pennywise,
Yeah.
here's all these characters in the background watching this basketball game, and it's
Yeah.
like, and you could clearly tell because I mean, all those characters are just random actors in a costume.
Costume, yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
But like, even if you go back, I know it's gonna be torturous to do that. Go back and watch just the scenes where they're doing the final game,
Yep.
and just look at the characters in the background.
They
no
don't-
one is watching the game.
Yeah,
like
I was
they're
gonna
all
say.
like reacting to different things.
Different stuff.
Because they definitely just had these random people in the costume. They recorded them behind a green screen, and then they just threw them in the background of these movies. Like
Yep.
the Space Jam and New Legacy was so bad. And I'm not saying that Space Jam, the original Space Jam with Michael Jordan, is just like
Yeah.
a classic,
But hold on.
great movie.
But it is a cult classic,
It is
though.
good. It is good. But I mean, like
Come on.
Michael Jordan's not a great actor.
He's not,
obviously.
but wait,
You know what I'm
but
saying? But I'm not saying that movie isn't terrible.
It works for what it was.
Exactly, but I'm not
And
saying
even
the movie's
the way,
amazing.
yeah.
But compared to Space Jam and New Legacy, it's clearly that they're like, let's just do this again. Let's get whoever's the most popular basketball player.
Yes.
And I think also Space Jam, the first one worked because of how big a star Michael Jordan was.
Thank
at that
you,
time.
bro.
Like I
Yes.
don't like LeBron James is definitely the GOAT. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? I don't think
He's
as-
not Michael
he's-
Jordan level.
He's not as big as Michael Jordan. As
He's
long
just
as I know people are gonna get mad at us saying that or whatever.
Yeah.
But I don't think he has the same stardom that Michael Jordan had during that time.
Not
in the
nearly.
90s.
Not nearly, bro, at all. I can
Not even
guarantee.
close.
Yeah. So
Not even
yeah,
close.
definitely that definitely carries and it was a different factor, that I think helped the original. But yeah, man, I mean just movies like that, bro, that people decide to make. I just think they're always gonna fail when it's not a real passion project. You know what I mean? Like we just said with like a Spider-Man 2, it's like if you don't really put true work and effort into creating this project and caring about the world that you're making, it's not gonna be something good.
Yeah, it's
It's
gonna be
it just
bad.
isn't. Like, I mean, for instance, doing like Deadpool 2, that was another one that a lot of people thought was pretty decent, right?
Mm-hmm.
But bro, we get these other projects, like we just said, like a Megamind 2 or whatever, any of these other things that we could say. I mean, you probably have a deeper list than me, but what are we doing?
Yeah, and I think it's just a thing where it's obviously just like lazy cash grabs. And,
Yes.
I think the main franchise or the main genres I think that get this the most are comedy movies, children movies.
Oh, yeah.
And horror movies too, to an extent. That they get this thing where it's like, let's do Megan 2, which no one cares about that movie at all. And then it gets like, you know, some people like it or whatever it is, what it is, right? Or like the whole Terrifier franchise. Like me personally, I don't like those
bro,
movies at
I
all.
don't either.
But I know people do like those movies, but I think those are bad movies. And you know, like comedy movies, they get that so much. Like we said, Grown Ups 2 and Happy Gilmore 2 or whatever other comedy movies you could throw in there.
Yeah.
Paul Blart 2, whatever the hell, right?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
all these movies are just bad movies. And I think like children movies, because I think those are a lot easier just to pump out. Like let's make a Moana 2 or whatever, or like I just think it's so bad. And that's why I think Disney is like their main culprit of doing stuff like that. Like especially with, like you said, like the legacy sequels where it comes
Yeah.
out 15, 20 years later after the original, like movies
Tired,
like
bro.
Hocus Pocus 2 or
Yes.
or Disenchantment,
Yeah.
or like
yeah,
like
yeah. Is that what it was?
2 yeah, I think it was called Disenchanted. It was
Enchanted 2?
It was Enchanted 2, but
Oh,
it was called
okay.
something different. But
Okay.
that movie was terrible.
Terrible.
And then, you know, recently we got like Camp Rock 3.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Or 4 or something.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that,
whatever it
yeah.
is, you know, whatever number they're at now. And
Yeah.
I just think that like they are clearly going, okay, we haven't seen this project in a long time. Let's go and make a new one.
Oh my God, I didn't even think about it. They're doing one of the worst ones. They're doing the sequel to Victorious.
Well, that's a series. That's
Come
a
on,
one-
Mike.
But that's
still
in
a
the same
sequel.
realm. That's in the same realm. I get what you mean.
It's just like how they did the iCarly sequel,
Yeah,
where
yeah,
now
yeah.
Carly's a grown woman and they put it on Disney. I mean on Paramount.
I think. I actually heard that one's on.
Yeah, but I didn't actually hear too many
Yeah, people
positives
talk about it. Yeah, I get what you
as
mean.
well.
I get you.
So,
Or they had what was it, the Zoe 101 movie?
Yeah.
That was like a sequel to the series and everything, and that movie was really bad.
You feel me?
And
So-
I don't know what the hell they're doing
like,
over there.
these are those like legacy sequels where it's like this super period of time. What possessed them to go and do Victorious? And then what I heard, or it's called Hollywood Arts or something
Yeah,
like that,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And what I heard is it's their kids are now going to Hollywood Arts. So I'm even thinking this. Because, you know, I don't know if you watch the trailer, there's like a little black kid in the show and everything like that and all these other characters. And apparently that kid is supposed to be Andre's son. And it's like this. How old are y'all?
yeah.
How old are y'all even supposed to be in this show? Because old girl Trina, Tori's sister,
Yeah.
she comes through and she's her age.
Substitute, yeah.
So how old is Andre in them? If their kids are this age,
I mean,
am I bugging?
that just damn near implies that they had kids like right out
Hella
of high
early,
school or
all
something
of them.
like that. Yeah, all
because
of them.
they
I guess.
said even one of the kids is Jade and
Beck's kid.
Beck's kid.
Yeah, I don't even know. That's what I'm saying. Like, I think it's just like it's definitely just like
Cash grab.
nostalgia, cash grabs. Like, hey, remember these characters? Well, they're back at it again.
See, and
you know,
and my bad for even cutting you off, but you know what it feels like? It almost feels like they'll go, damn, we haven't done anything in a really long time. What was like one of our old successful shows? Victorious? Okay, yeah, let's do Victorious. Let's do a new spinoff. And they're like, yeah, but we kind of like ended the show a certain type of way. And they're like, yeah, I know, but we'll figure it out. And I feel like they always try to figure out how to do a sequel, even if the first movie literally closed that chapter.
Yeah.
These people don't care. They'll just go, I guess, what the hell?
just make a new one.
Let's just make a new one, open it back up, and then, yeah, people are going to be mad that some of it doesn't make sense. Like in the other movie, our main character died, but we'll do this thing in the second one where there's a government program. And it's just like,
that's
oh
literally
my
all
God,
the Resident Evil movies
dude.
and all that stuff too. Like,
Oh my God,
characters
dude.
gonna get brought back to life just for this sake of a sequel. And I just think it is kind of annoying, and I'm kind of glad that they don't do that as much. I mean, we did name off a couple of recent ones that did just come out, but I feel like it's not
I know what you mean.
done as much as it was like in the early 2000s, like when we were growing up, because it's like
Yeah.
every summer there was a sequel to some movie that came out the last summer before it or something like
Yeah,
that, you know?
yeah, facts.
And I don't know. I just think it's interesting that like sequels are mostly seen as bad things for the most part.
Isn't that crazy?
And I just think that it could be better. You know, there are definitely. I mean, we'll damn near make another video where we're talking about sequels that are better than the originals.
Definitely, yeah.
Because there are a bunch that we could go through.
Yeah.
But I just think that, like, if you're trying to continue your franchise or whatever, there are good ways to do it. And I think the movies that we named off are examples of movies that were supposed to be just one-off movies.
Yes.
That shouldn't have been made into a franchise or shouldn't have had sequels and like that. But I think when a movie gets so successful, especially back then, it was a guarantee that you're gonna get a shitty sequel that's gonna
You
follow
definitely
it.
were, yeah, and it was gonna come right away. So let me ask you this question before we get out of here. What do you think is worse? Doing the sequel immediately, how we used to get it, or doing the sequel 10, 20 years later, how we're getting it now?
I think doing the legacy sequels 10, 20 years later is worse.
Yeah.
Because it's almost a thing where it's like, why did y'all even bother to do this? Like, we
Yeah.
forgot about this franchise a while ago.
Yep.
No one's really been asking for the sequels for Happy Gilmore.
Yeah.
And it's like out of nowhere, you come out with the Happy Gilmore 2, and it's just like filled with a bunch of random celebrities, and it's just like corny little cheesy jokes in it or whatever, and
Yep.
it's just so laughably bad. Like, I'm like, what in the hell were you even thinking when you guys are making these franchises? And I think a lot of it is they go, you know, it's time to pick up that golf stick. It's time to go
Yep.
back. It's time to go back to the you know, to Happy Gilmore or whatever
Yep.
the case is, right?
Yeah,
I know I'm
it's
shitting on Adam
almost-
Sandler a lot. I love
yeah.
Adam Sandler, but I think he does that a lot too with his movies, where they go, let's bring this thing back. Like, this movie was super popular back then and everybody loved it. Let's bring back Grown Ups and do Grown Ups 3.
Yep.
Even though it could be kind of complicated with, you know, deaths that happen, and, you know, certain co-stars aren't really well liked.
Yeah,
and-
certain
and-
controversies.
Yeah, certain
Yeah.
controversy with some of the people who are in these movies, but we're gonna bring it back anyways. And I'm just like, why even bother? Like, I would rather see a new movie from y'all.
Yeah, I was gonna say it just kind of feels very much like, hey, remember this project that you
Yeah.
guys all liked? Well, we still got it, and we can do it again. And Adam Sandler's not old enough. I mean, he's not, you know, too old not to do it anymore.
Yeah.
You guys want it again? And it's just like, it just seems like this constant, like, hey,
Yeah,
it's like annoying almost.
It's
you know
just
what
very
I mean?
lazy. It's almost
Yeah.
like, and it's almost like the Space Jam New Legacy scene, where it's like the company goes, do you guys remember that we still own this character?
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna keep on making shit movies about this character until you hate this character.
Yeah,
and it's
pretty
like,
much.
why do you guys do that?
That's what they do to us, and then we end up, and then you start hearing people talk about stuff like, "We got superhero fatigue,"
Yeah.
or whatever. And this is where we get all those phrases where it's like, "No, it's not superhero fatigue. We just have bad superhero movie fatigue." Or people will say, "Bro, we got sequel fatigue." No, because most of us, if we watched a good movie, how many people do you hear go like, "We need more, bro"? Like Chronicle, for instance.
Yeah.
And we'll do a video, like, you know, he just said, we'll definitely do a video if y'all want it. But yeah, bro, like that type of stuff is always going to just bother us when they do it this type of way. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
It's so annoying,
I don't
dude.
know.
And oh my god, I gotta mention this movie before we get out of here, bro.
yeah.
Joker 2. Jesus
filet
Christ.
adieu.
Oh my god. Like, that is like the epitome of how bad you could ruin a franchise.
Oh, dude.
Joker 1 was winning Oscars
$1
and all this
billion,
stuff.
brother.
$1 billion movies, everybody loved it, and then they came out with Joker 2.
Filet
Adieu. Oh my god, that's so terrible. But I mean, let us know what you guys think about terrible sequels. Drop down some of the worst sequels that you guys have ever seen
Yes.
that we didn't mention in this video, because I know there's probably a billion that we didn't mention.
Definitely.
Let us know down below what you guys think about the video. Let us know if you guys want us to do maybe a video about sequels that are actually better than the originals, because there's a couple, you know, the Godfather, you know, there's a couple,
Yes.
there's a couple movies, Spider-Man,
Spider-Man 2.
there's a couple of Star Wars, some of the Star Wars sequels are better than the original. But yeah, let us know what you guys think. Like, comment, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you guys on the next one.